Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. This is the Beyond Ground podcast, and I'm your host, Adis. And we have a guest.
Michael
Here.
Tanbush,
Yeah,
good to be here in the land of origins.
yeah. I'm happy to see you.
It's great to be here. Thank you for having me as a guest.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah. First of all, introduce yourself for us.
Sure. Michael Tanbush, president of International Samaritan. We're based in Ann Arbor, Michigan, but we work in 8 other developing nations dedicated exclusively to helping people in the communities surrounding the garbage dumps of developing nations break out of poverty.
Okay, thank you. Today, I want to talk about the love of God.
The love of God.
Yeah, it is
Amen.
amazing.
Yeah, it is amazing.
Yeah. So the first question is, if you could describe the love of God in one word, what would it be and why?
Overwhelming.
Yeah.
This is like I like to think of it this way. A lot of people, particularly in America, like they don't think much about God, let alone about His love for them, and they almost begin to think that like they themselves are God, right? Like, well, but what I'm saying is that like we as human beings, we can't even control our heart. Like this thing that's in my chest, I can't stop it if I want it, on my own, of course, right?
Yeah.
I can't even go 24 hours without sleeping. Like God created the world in such a way that He put this heart within us to beat. He tells us rest on the 7th day, and we rest every night. And He made us that way, right? Like He made us that way for His blessing and for His joy. And so to me, the love of God is overwhelming. Like when you really take time to tune into like God who created the universe created me. And He created me with a purpose, and He wants me to do things, not just like long term, but every day He wants to talk to me and guide me and direct my steps. And so when we really take time to get to know Him, read the Word, worship Him, sing His praises, and then listen to what He has to say and then obey Him, it's overwhelming to me that the God who created the universe is a close, intimate friend who guides and directs us all the time. I feel like the love of God is overwhelming.
Okay, that's great. And the next question is, how was how was your understanding of God's love changed over time, and what experience contributed to the shift?
Well, there's a lot there. I grew up loving the Lord, and then I went to college, and I let myself down.
Yeah.
Started drinking, stopped going to church, and for almost 10 years, I lived a life I'm not proud of at all. And during that time, I started to, in many ways, I went from believing in all types of gods, like maybe the Buddhists are right, maybe the Muslims are right. Then I started developing like, well, here's what I would do if I were God. It was almost like I was creating God instead of God creating me. You see how that shifts?
Yeah.
It's really weird. Like, again, like I can't even stop my own heart from beating, but I'm starting to think like, this is the way I would do things. Like I have very little control, but here I am telling God the way He should be. So my understanding of God changed. The more and more I got into the world, the less and less I was like Him. I started, right? What changed for me was there was a woman who was a friend of mine, and she loved me enough to buy the Bible and give it to me. And she said, "You're so angry at God. I want you to get to know Him better." I was like, "I don't need to read this. It's not true. It's a bunch of myths." She said, "No, read it with me." And she said, "And let's just start with the book of Matthew and let's read it together. You read a couple chapters, we'll get together, have coffee." And over the course of like March 1997, U.S. years, that would be like 1990 here.
Yeah.
I spent about 30 days reading the book of Matthew, and I was so amazed by this person that Jesus was. I really realized that like there's no way He could have been this wise. There's no way He could have died and rose again if it weren't for the love of God. So my whole life shifted in 1997 when I made a decision to say, I'm going to follow Jesus. That's when my life changed.
Oh, that's an amazing story, by the way.
And I married that woman, by the way.
Oh.
Yeah. We have 3 kids. They're in their 20s now. And I tell you, our marriage, of loving God. Like my wife and I love each other deeply,
Yeah.
but we love God more than we
Yeah.
love each other, and we raised our kids to do the same. And man, it's been a great adventure.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Thank
Yeah. How do you personally experience the love of God on your daily life?
How do I explain it, or what was your verb?
Experience it.
Express it.
Yeah.
So I learned a really good lesson maybe 10 years ago. A close friend named Father Frank Canfield taught me. He said, Michael, pray every day that you have ears to hear and a heart to obey the Lord. And so my daily prayers is say, Lord, give me an ear to hear you and a heart to obey. And when you do that, I find throughout the day that he'll ask me to do things that I really don't want to do. Like he might say, you need to stop and go pray for that stranger over there. Or you see that person in line, you should really buy that cup of coffee for them. And I'm like, Lord, I'm too busy. Lord, I want to buy a cup of coffee for myself. And it's really interesting to see how when you do these things that you don't want to do, but you feel like the Lord is calling you to do them, how much it blesses people. And that's what makes you feel like you're part of this great adventure, because that person will be like, you have no idea what this means to me, right? And you can see life's being changed because you were obedient. And I want to be clear that it's not just with strangers. I mean, there'll be times that it's like, you need to apologize to your wife, even when you think you're right, and how much. And I'm like, no, Lord, I'm not apologizing to her because, she's wrong. But when I can humble myself and ask for her forgiveness instead of trying to, make my point, like it just changed. It's awesome. Like you can just see her heart soften and you can see us come together and enjoy the life that God has for us because I'm being obedient to him. So I really try to express God's love by hearing his voice and doing the things he's telling me to do. And if I can, he says in Mark chapter 4, when he talks about the parable of the sower, that he says it's like seeds, and so many people, the seeds fall off the ground. They don't take root because of the cares of this world or the busyness of life. And I can see how hard everybody works here in Ethiopia. In America, it's much the same way. Everybody's so busy. They're always looking at their phones. They're getting in the car to take their kids to sports. Like everybody's so busy. It's almost like, how do you have time to hear from the Lord? Because you've got your phone, you're in the car. And so I think we have to work really hard, particularly in this day and age, not to let the cares of the world or the busyness of life keep us from letting God's seed, his word, his desires, be good ground in our heart that we're actually living that way.
Nice. If you gauge a person who is struggling with life, what would you tell him about the love of God?
If you see somebody struggling with life, that's a tough one. Because I know where you've been. I know some of your struggles, and I've known people who they're just in a really tough position. And so I guess this one is actually a little bit easier for me. Sometimes we'll say like everything happens for a reason, but let me tell you, I don't think that's biblically correct, right? Like we know that there is an enemy who seeks to rob, steal, and destroy from us, right? And we know that people can be selfish and do evil things. I really struggled with this when I got fired one time. And I was like, Lord, I fasted and prayed before I took that position. I did my best. And I got fired. Like, what happened? Did I not hear you correctly? I'm pretty sure you told me to take that job. And I became really clear that what that guy did to me wasn't wrong. That wasn't God's plans for him to fire me. But it says in Romans 8:28, all things will work together for good for those who love the Lord and are called according to his purpose. And so I really do encourage people, like that abuse that you suffered or that abandonment that you're going through, like that's not God's plans. He didn't tell your father to leave you. He didn't want your mother to die in that car accident. That's not his plans. Like it was that drunk driver who shouldn't have been drinking and driving who caused that accident. That wasn't God. But I do tell people, but if you love and serve him, he will always cause things to work for your good, because I've seen him do it over and over in my life, and I can see him do it around the world.
Yeah, that's nice. The fifth question is, how can we extend the love of God to those who are difficult to love? And what challenge might we encounter in doing it?
So, to speak candidly, I'm 56.
Oh.
I gave my life to the Lord when I was 27, so that's almost 30 years.
Mm.
And for those 30 years, I have maybe 10 friends who I'm very, very close to. We went through a lot together in the world. And so for 30 years now, I've been like trying to lead them to the Lord, like showing, praying for them, encouraging them, trying to be a godly example. And I think I'm like 0 for 10 right now. And it can be a little frustrating over 30 years.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, you've seen my walk. You see how much I love the Lord and how much he loves you. Like, come, join this journey, join this adventure with me.
Mm.
But I think I've discovered that it's very hard for people to admit that they're wrong, and it's very hard for people to change in life. Like, people don't like change.
Yeah.
And so I was blessed that this woman who I really liked, we were friends, but I really did want to date her. She made me. She was like, if you want to date me, you've got to be right with the Lord. And so I had to make a choice. Like, how grateful I am for a person, a friend, to say, make a decision, Mike. I could have chosen to say, I'd rather be in the world than to love the Lord and be with you. I could have made that decision, right? But she made me make a decision. And I wish there were a way that I could make my friends, people I really love, who continue just to kind of float on doing the things they're always doing without really taking their faith seriously. I wish there was a way that I could say, hey, Jimmy or Fred, like, today, let's make that decision, right? Like, tomorrow's not guaranteed. And maybe I need to be more courageous, but that can be a little bit frustrating. I think your question was, what do you do when, so being patient and certainly praying for them. That's not, for me, it's not hard to love people who are like struggling, or you could be battling alcoholism. Like, it's almost easy to love God because you can see their brokenness, their hurt. That's easy for me. But when people have the best of everything in life and they ignore God, those are the ones who are hard for me to love, because I'm like, that's a little bit offensive at this point. Like, he's blessed you in so many ways and you just ignore him. Like, those are people that are a little bit harder. It takes more something deeper for me.
In what ways that the love of God challenge us to step outside of our comfort zone and make a positive impact on the world?
In what ways will the love of God help us to get outside of our comfort zone?
Yeah.
I think really that instance of being obedient, right? Like, if you say, well, I love God and I do everything he tells me, and it's easy for you, I kind of think you're not listening, right? Like, if that just means like you're going to work and you're going home and you're having dinner and you're going to bed, like, maybe you're not really listening that well to God, because that's just doing what's easy. I really think, like, to make the world a better place, you're really listening to him, and he's telling you to do things that might be like, maybe you should go back to school to pursue a degree so that you could do something bigger or better. Or maybe you should. I know God is always trying to raise you up, lift you up. And if you're not feeling stretched, you're probably not really walking closely with him. And faith requires doing things that don't make sense, right? Faith is the substance of things not seen.
Yeah.
So if you can't point to anything that you've done in faith, let's say in the last 3 months, then where's your love for God? Because you're not living in faith, you're living in comfort.
Yeah.
That's not faith.
Okay. We almost finished our questions. We have well-asked questions. And before that, if you have anything to say for the people who watch this episode, we are free.
Okay. Say that now. What's your last question?
Okay. My last question is, if you could ask God one question about love, what would it be, and why is it important to you?
I don't know if So I think the thing that most people struggle with is the question about heaven, right? Like, who gets to go into heaven?
Mm-hmm.
And if God loves everybody, why doesn't he allow everybody into heaven?
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of people are like, well, there must not be a heaven because God, like, I think that sets a lot of people off. Like, what does that mean? These people aren't going to heaven, or I'm not going to heaven. And if that's the case, then I don't want to know God.
Mm-hmm.
So it's become clear to me, right? Like, we can't all be going to the same place, right? Like, what I mean by that is everybody can agree, those who believe that there's life after death, that Adolf Hitler and you and I, we're not going to be in the same place, right?
Mm-hmm.
We can all agree Hitler is somewhere
Mm-hmm.
because he was such an evil man. There has to be, he can't be singing with the angels right now because he just clearly hated God. Like, if you hate somebody, if you ignore him, I think you have to live with the consequences of your decision, right? So, like, I think God is sitting in heaven with open arms saying, hey, listen, all you who are hungry, heavy burden and heavy laden, come to me. You know, like, I love you and I want to have you home with me. I think that's what heaven is. And I think a lot of people are like, they don't want to know God, they don't want to seek him. And so I think they end up in a pretty difficult place. Mm-hmm. But I tend to think like that's a really difficult thing for us as 8 billion people on earth to try to figure out. So which ones of the 8 billion are going to be with you and which are not? And like, I wish I had a better way to, I don't know. I just feel like that the whole question of, like, I'm very confident that if you love the Lord, you're going to spend eternity with him. Right. And clearly if you ignore the Lord and have animosity towards him, you're also not going to spend eternity with him. Mm-hmm. But for questions around like people who have never learned about him and things through no fault of their own, haven't known him, I think that's a question that's hard for us as humans to understand. Like, well, what happens then? I think I'd like to hear. I can't wait for God to say, look, here are the people I led into heaven and here's why. Like, I think that's going to be a really interesting thing.
Very interesting.
Yeah, I'd like to get up there and say, oh, wow, they made it, but they didn't. Wow. I think it'd be really interesting.
Yeah, that's nice. So, do you have anything to say?
Here's what I want to say. Okay. Check out, subscribe. This is a special young man with a beautiful story of overcoming. And the Lord has been great in his life. He's got a powerful testimony, and he has something he wants to share with you. So click subscribe, share this with others, because this is a message that's going to really resound and be powerful for other people in need. People struggling in the world are going to be encouraged by the message that this man has to share.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We have a good time with you. Thank you very much to the interview. I'm so excited, by the way, to have you here. And thank you very much.
My pleasure.